our goal with iCalm is to become a staple for natural, effective solutions that are calming people's bodies and problems. So just like we're calming your nervous system, we can also calm a sore throat, calm a headache. I think going forward, we will provide every type of relief using all natural products and herbs and solutions. So I think we just want people to trust us in being able to calm their body in a natural, fast way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Startup CPG podcast. This is Grace, and I am here with another founder feature. Today, I'm talking to Daniela Suarez, the co-founder of iCalm. iCalm offers powerful natural support for stress and anxiety with their stress relief shot. Daniela began iCalm because of her own personal need for anxiety relief, and she spent years developing the product to ensure it was not only incredibly potent, but also tasted delicious. iCalm only launched a month ago, but they've already been making a name for themselves as a source of natural anxiety relief. Most recently, they were actually the top voted backpack brand at our Discotopia party at Newtopia Now, which means they will get a free booth next year. I loved chatting with Daniela and learning about all things iCalm, so I hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, let me know what you think.
Quick shout out for people who left us a review this week. So Ashley Waldman, the founder of Better For You flavored milk brand Jubilees, said, "This company, their podcast, their webinars, the Slack community, it almost feels like cheating. She's saving 50 to 200% on shipping after signing up with our partner EPG. She says her margins have never looked so good and she nearly cried when she saw the numbers. She's no longer feeling like she's living on an island, just winging it." Deep D from Kalon, which makes cool, chewable toothpaste tablets, said she feels blessed to be part of the community. She's met amazing people and learned a lot. And instead of going into Googling on a deep hole, she can now just go to our community and ask questions. Thanks so much, both of you. And if you can leave a review, we really appreciate it. Feel free to call out your brand, what you're working on, and I will try to shout you out here. Thanks, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I'm very excited to be interviewing Daniela Suarez, the founder of iCalm. Welcome to the show, Daniela.
Hi, Grace. So happy to be here.
So happy to have you. So I'd love for you just to introduce yourself and iCalm to our listeners.
Yes. Hey, everyone. I'm Daniela, the co-founder of iCalm. And here at iCalm Health, we're on a mission to provide natural stress relief to everyone's lives. And we've developed a 3-ounce shot that is a very powerful supplement that helps alleviate stress and anxiety. It's a powerful concentrate that calms your nervous system and doesn't make you drowsy, so you can take it in the middle of the day. And we like to say it's strong enough to help an ER surgeon, but crafted with your first date in mind.
Aw, that's so cute. I love that little phrase. And definitely something that's needed across all professions. I think everybody has high levels of stress these days. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about why you decided to create this product and why, how this idea came to you in the first place.
Yeah, so it all started when I developed a tumor in my right ovary after years of taking anxiety medication. And this was a very scary moment in my life. My doctor initially thought it might be cancer. I thought it was cancer, and thank God it wasn't. But it turned out to be a stress and medication-induced tumor.
Wow.
Yeah, and at that moment, I knew I needed to find a safer, gentler way to manage my stress and my anxiety. But I realized that I couldn't just stop taking something and replace it with nothing. Because my anxiety was real. And I know that some people may downplay their own stress and anxiety, and while there's a small percentage of people out there might actually never feel it, 9 out of 10 people are simply not in tune with their bodies, and they don't realize that what is causing them the brain fog, the inability to focus, the inability to problem solve or think creatively, and their lack of motivation is simply, it's anxiety. And also the stress in my body actually triggered chest pains, migraines, sometimes nausea. Sometimes my stress would get so bad, I had to sit or lay down, And that's not something I could afford to do in the middle of a workday.
Totally. And I think that we don't always realize how much, our mental health affects our physical health. And I think that's something people are talking about more now and is so important. But, so many physical symptoms do come up with anxiety. And obviously you had probably one of the most intense physical symptoms to come up. And that's so scary. And I didn't even know that was possible to happen. So what were you working in when this all started to happen? What field were you in?
Yeah, so my background is in technology sales.
Oh, wow.
So I always had a very stressful job, on top of the fact that I was always naturally a person that easily got stressed and was very anxious. So in addition to my additional stress from a high stressful job, like sales, was really not healthy for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Sales always sounds so stressful. Anybody I know who's in it is just like always working, basically. So that sounds like a stressful environment.
Because even though I was very good at sales, I actually won awards, like this Sales Excellence Award that my company would give to the top 5 salespeople globally. I was not good at managing the stress that came with it. I remember I would get so nervous before my sales meetings. Sometimes I would get really nervous to even have those dreaded weekly catch-up calls with my boss where I had to tell them how many sales I made that week. Oh man, I hated those.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sounds stressful.
Yeah.
So you were figuring out how you were going to manage your stress in a different way. Because obviously the medication wasn't working for you anymore after this tumor. So how did you actually come up with the idea for iCalm in its form now, which is this small shot version, basically, of anti-anxiety, or that soothes anxiety? How did you get from, I need something, to this is an idea?
Yeah, no, great question. Well, it all starts first with trying everything that's already in the market. You don't come up with something new or an idea before you realize that it doesn't exist. So I actually tried over-the-counter solutions, anything I could find on CVS, GNC, Vitamin Shop that was a stress relief product. And what I noticed is that they were very weak in potency. For example, the gummies, they had barely any active ingredients and they were full of sugar. So they were practically candy. The pills, they were very, very low potency as well. They say take 2 or 3 or 4 as a dose, and they still contained only anywhere from 250 to 350 milligrams of active ingredients. And I'll come back to this in a second, why this amount matters. But this is why they did nothing for me. And I even thought, okay, let me explore with cannabis. But it didn't help me either. For example, CBD had no effect on me. But THC made me feel like a zombie, made me boring, apathetic. So I wasn't my usual happy self on these things, and I couldn't function or be productive. And this is when I realized that there was a huge gap in the market, and I needed to create something that was natural, yet very strong and effective in managing stress and anxiety.
Yeah, definitely. And I do feel like often the solution you're presented, if you go to a doctor, for example, is either just take medication, or they're like, just sleep more. And you're like, wouldn't that be great if I could sleep more? That would be awesome. So it's interesting that you did identify and find this sort of area where a lot of people need help with it, but there's kind of not as many, for the amount of products that are on the market that deal with anxiety, there's maybe not as many products that are actually effective. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about why that potency matters that you were talking about, and a little bit more too about how you chose the active ingredients in iCalm. Because some of them I've actually, when I was looking at your ingredient list, I was like, I've never heard of that, to be honest.
So I started off by creating a tea at home after the tumor got extracted. And I started researching very natural supplements, herbs to calm my anxiety naturally. And I started taking a homemade tea. And I started seeing improvements, but it wasn't quite where I needed it to be. I knew whatever I was doing just wasn't effective enough. And this is what made me go to nutrition school. I specialized in supplementation, and I also researched PhDs in cellular health. And I reached out to one to teach me about what I was drinking and to see if what I was doing was right.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when you guys came together to collaborate, or maybe I guess he was more teaching you, what did you end up landing on for iCalm, the formulation?
Yes. So because at the beginning, Grace, everything was for my personal consumption, I was just thinking about alleviating this problem for myself. And so the PhD really took a look at my formula and said, nature can definitely heal. Supplements are definitely an effective option to your anxiety problems, but the amounts you are using are weak. He taught me to increase them. And he also taught me which herbs were good and which herbs were not. There are a lot of herbs that have a lot of clinical trials, research to prove their effectiveness against stress and anxiety. But he also taught me that there are some people that have mutations, have bad reactions to some herbs. And so not all herbs are gentle on the body. And so I really wanted to make sure that our strong potency had the least impact with medication in someone who still wants to take SSRIs. And he helped me create this very gentle yet potent formula.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the other thing I wanted to ask about is I feel like some herbs are notoriously really bad tasting, even if they are really powerful herbs. So how did you, and iCalm tastes delicious. So how did you manage, making the flavor taste great while also having these like high potency herbs in the mixture?
This is such a good question, Grace, because getting the formula right was just the beginning of our journey, the beginning of the battle. And at first, the tea didn't taste good. The formula did not taste good. It actually tasted like shit. And because it was for my personal use, again, I was just drinking it without breathing. But then I gave it to my sister to try, and because she was working in Goldman at the time, doing investment banking, and that's a very, very stressful job. And she was giving it to her banker friends. And when she received feedback that this was helping them with their panic attacks, she came to me and says, Daniela, I think you have a very, very good product here. And I was like, oh no. That's when I realized I needed it to taste better. And that's when I really went on a journey to try to find a flavorist. I wanted to find a manufacturer who could teach me how to make this taste good. Because this was now outside the PhD's expertise. Getting it to taste good was a whole other mountain we needed to climb. So I spoke to many labs, formulation companies. We sent them our blend, and everything they would return back to us was disgusting. It was completely unswallowable. I had to spit it out. I'll never forget, I was in the airport one day trying sample number 9, unable to drink it, and I just started crying. My sister and I really did not think we had a business here.
So when did you find a flavorist who could actually make what you wanted, and how did that search, end?
So I went to a trade show. There's one in Chicago where a lot of manufacturers go, and I said, I have to find someone. And I find a couple of actually flavor companies, and their only solution, they kept suggesting that I remove ingredients out, that I remove herbs out from my drink, because that would make it less bitter and add more sugar. And I said, well, this is defeating the purpose. And they said, well, this is why everyone else is barely putting any ingredients in their gummies or in their supplements and putting so much sugar. And that's like for it to taste good, among other things. They're also wanting to increase their profits, and it's a whole other thing that made me really angry. But they told me, you're never going to get a shot that tastes good with this amount of herbal supplements into it. Like, they were laughing at me, pretty much mocking me, and saying that I could never do it. And I'm someone, Grace, that when someone tells me you can never do this, you can't do it, it's not gonna work. So like a fire ignites in me and I just go out there and do it. And one of these manufacturers ended up telling me about this flavorist, very, very famous flavorist that was really close to retiring, but he actually lived in New Jersey, right in my backyard. And he said he's the absolute best in the country, and go talk to him and convince him to work with you. And that's what I did. So I called John and I sent him my formula. He said it's a very challenging to work with this because of the high amounts of every ingredient we had, including magnesium, which everybody who's drank magnesium knows how terrible it tastes. If you ever drink a magnesium that tastes good, you had to question how much magnesium they're actually putting in the product. But he was very famous for creating natural flavors out of cold pressing methodology, which is really complicated and advanced, but is the only methodology that allows for you to extract the flavor from for example, we use lemon flavor in our product. He extracts it from the lemon peel, and this allows for us to preserve the most nutrients, but also have an aroma, and it's the most natural lemon flavor that we could possibly use. And really, he's the hero that helped save our company.
Wow. Yeah. And, sometimes it's just finding that last person. You go to every single stone and then it's finally under the last one. And it sounds like he was also the perfect person for the job. So I'm so glad that he was able to do that. And obviously, iCalm does taste good because everybody says that. So, you're getting good feedback from customers immediately, which brings me to my next question, which is, you only launched about a month ago. When this comes out, it'll have been about 2 months. But how are you bringing this product to customers? Because it's such a new thing, it's kind of a totally new way of also like dealing with your anxiety. So what strategies are you using to get this product to customers and then also educate them on what it actually is?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we did launch a month ago, but during this whole product development process, which took years, we started an online community. And actually, yes, we started like a Facebook group, a private Facebook group that we were just showing our whole journey. We even created a wait list, and this wait list grew to about like 7,000 people. And we actually still have the Facebook group in Facebook open. It's not public, it's private, but people can still request to join. It's called iCalm Inner Circle. If anybody out there is interested in joining, we're still taking people in, but it's the most exclusive group of customers we have. They get to see behind the scenes that we show even more than we show on social media. We still try to show some behind the scenes in social media, but here we keep it very real. But right now, because we just launched, we're keeping focused on e-commerce. And Grace, because our product is very good, and don't take my word for it. I actually invite you and the listeners to go read our reviews in Think Testing. Think Testing is a third-party, independent review site where anybody can go and review every new product that hits the market. So it's very effective for getting customer feedback when you first launch, because people are gathering points and they're just incentivized to really review every product out there. So yes, we have really good reviews, and the people on our wait list were making amazing intros, referrals for us. We were getting these inbounds of people, and when we asked them, how did you find us? They really found us through referrals. Yes, but we're also very active on sales channels. Through emails. We're also, whenever somebody comes from a referral, acquires iCalm, we put them on an email list and we try to educate them. So this way we're building a lot of consistency on the product, how to take it, when, in what situations they can take it, and things like that. And one thing I'm noticing is that the product is really skewed on females right now. And so we're also thinking about points of contact and touch where these female customers can see us. So right now we're in many coffee shops and also yoga studios near office spaces in Manhattan, where these women could go after work and do a little bit of yoga or do or a studio or a fitness studio. But soon they're going to start seeing us in delis and bodegas near their offices as well.
Wow, I love it. That's so exciting. I mean, you only launched a month ago. It sounds like you guys have been very busy and thinking you're bringing up bodegas and more physical locations, right? So obviously, again, it's so early in your journey, but what's been your thoughts or approach around starting to dip your toes into retail? Or is that kind of on your to-do list for iCalm in the coming months?
We'll be right back. Is your CPG business taking off? You can easily check off the EDI capable box as you break into retail. SPS Commerce is your gateway to retail growth. With over 1 million existing trading connections and counting, you get instant access to the largest network of up-to-date, mapped EDI connections to retailers, distributors, 3PLs, brokers, and other supply chain partners without doing any of the heavy lifting yourself. With over 20 years of experience, SPS Commerce is the partner you can trust to get you up and running quickly and be there to scale with you as you grow. Plus, their team of experts is available 24/7 for support, ensuring you have everything you need. Visit spscommerce.com today to book a demo or learn more. And now, back to the show.
That's a very good question. Right now, we're really not dabbling our toes too much in retail. We don't think that's a tiger we really want to poke at right now. But yeah, we're very happy with the results we're getting so far, DTC. And we're really now just focused on getting the brand more known online before we start and go knocking on big retailers' doors.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think is probably wise. And especially given that it is a product that can be shipped, I'm imagining relatively easily. Is it shelf stable?
It is shelf stable. And I'm glad you asked that question, Grace, because it's shelf stable using a very innovative natural preservative. It's called mountain ash berry. No other supplement is using it today. And it's the healthiest natural supplement a product could possibly have.
Wow. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. So it's a natural preservative that allows it to be shelf stable. That's amazing. I love it. And definitely, yeah, like I was saying, though, useful and helpful to have a shelf stable product for sure, especially if you're going to be going DTC and using your e-commerce. So thinking a little bit more broadly, obviously you said it took years and years to develop iCalm and get it right. What has been one of the, maybe let's focus on post-launch since that's the newest thing. What's been one of the most challenging parts post-launch of actually now having your baby in the world?
Yeah, so definitely product development was the biggest challenge, right? That we faced, almost quitting. But now that we got the taste to where we want it to be, we have a joke with my sister, co-founder. We say it's never going to taste like a Snapple, but it actually ended up tasting very closely to a Snapple. So we're very happy about that. But I wouldn't say there's been one big challenge after that. It's just been constant challenges. We actually got scammed big time when we first got started by a big famous celebrity that I don't know if I should say their name right now, but we lost a lot of money. Actually, this celebrity reached out to us, knocked on our door and said, I have a lot of mental health problems. I suffer from a lot of stress and anxiety. This is something that speaks to me, and I would love to be the face of it. And we entered a deal where he would post stories, content for 6 months at a set price. And he wanted actually all the money paid up front, but we negotiated a 50 at the beginning and the rest later. And he ended up taking the money and posting for a week and ghosting us. And if I say his name, people will recognize his name.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is terrible.
This is not right. So I'm going to say it, right? Should I say it?
I mean, up to you. But
I think I'm going to say it. So to prevent, actually, I really care about all other founders not getting scammed out there.
yeah.
It's really costly for us. We're all like, if you're bootstrapped and you're not starting out with investment money, it's every dollar that comes out of your pocket and out of your life savings. This could really make or break your business. And for somebody to do that, it's just very challenging to overcome. It was Chet Hanks, the son of Tom Hanks. And he's getting more famous and famous. He's really growing in social media. And he's always been very vocal about not dealing well with the fact that his dad was very famous and his life was always a mess and was on drugs and went to rehab. And now he found God. And he just really convinced us. And we really thought we had found a good match. But
wow, that is so terrible. And I'm so sorry. You know what's funny is that I actually went to college with him.
No way.
Yes. And he was like very much a like kind of chaotic presence on campus. But anyway, we won't get too much into those. Huh? Yeah, small world. That's terrible though. So how did you guys, I mean, I'm so glad you didn't pay everything up front, but how have you guys been now sort of like recovering from that? Or have you just been kind of trying to cut your losses and move on?
Yeah, we cut our losses and we moved on, and we always feel like, well, karma gets everyone. And it just made us really more wise about celebrities, not just not converting, but also even that week we got really very low results from that, but also just really analyzing contracts well, not signing contracts unless you absolutely must, and just being really careful. And then being more vocal and sharing with the founder community. I feel like being an entrepreneur is like wearing a target on your back for a lot of scammers and bad people out there. Starting from, not all vendors and services are bad, but many out there are bad, and they just want to take your money and deliver either shit work or no work at all. So the more vocal you are with founders, and the more things come recommended to you through another founder or personal recommendation, sometimes it's better not to work with them for the first time. But it's just made us more open, more trusting in the founder community, discovering the importance of sharing these stories and for helping protect each other.
Absolutely. That's so important. You know, we only have each other. And I think that's a huge mission of Startup CPG as well, is to bring people together so you can find those connections more easily and you're not having to, you know, just knock down everyone's door. You can send people a quick Slack message asking them what their experience was like with XYZ vendor if you know they used it. Because definitely personal recommendations are kind of just the gold standard of knowing who you can who you can trust to move forward with. But I'm so sorry that happened, and definitely a good message to any founder who's listening to, not work with that person. And I'm glad you said his name, you know, why not? So on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, though, a more happy question. What has been one of your proudest moments since founding iCalm?
I have to say that our most proud moment was winning Discotopia. Discotopia was the event that Startup CPG held in Denver, Colorado, in the middle of Newtopia Now, which is one of the biggest trade shows for health and wellness. And it was particularly incredible for us to win this event because all the founders, the brands, the products that were participating in this contest brought their A game. And we were there sampling to new customers, to buyers, and every product there rocked. So, and also being able to get real-time feedback right there from the people, it was really a big confidence vote for iCalm. And it was incredible to see, as so many people were saying, it works. I love the flavor. I noticed the effects immediately. Just hearing that there during the show was incredible. And still, with all this great feedback, we didn't think we'd win. But 2 days later, discovering and finding out that we won, we were on cloud 9. We couldn't believe ourselves. And we were like, man, this is the confidence this is the confidence boost we needed after all this hard work and sometimes not everything paying off. And this was our biggest sign to just keep going. You have a product that can help many people's lives. The journey is not easy, but people are giving you the thumbs up, telling you to keep going. And that was the most important thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so anyone who's listening knows, they won based on votes from the guests at our Discotopia party. So they received the most votes out of any of our backpack brands. So it's not like it's just 3 people at Startup CPG deciding who wins. This was our whole party deciding, which was many, many, many people deciding that iCalm was their favorite thing they sampled. So a huge accomplishment. And also you get a free booth next year at Newtopia now, which will be amazing, and super excited to see what you guys do there and see sort of what you make of it as your first, I guess, huge, big trade show. But thinking, I guess, of the future as well, what are you looking forward to, in this first year of iCalm? What are some of the things that you're excited about, and also some of the things that are on your list of goals, perhaps, for this first year?
All right, people, I'm about to tell you about an e-com subscriptions contest with a massive prize. Did you know, for e-com brands that offer subscriptions, a single subscriber is worth 3 times as much as a regular customer? You can ask around, it's true. And that's why Recharge, the #1 subscription platform, is celebrating subscriptions with the Tomorrow Brand Challenge. If you enter this contest from January to June 2025, your brand running a top-notch subscription program that attracts and retains lots of new subscribers could win you the biggest prize in e-commerce history. It's $100,000 in cash, $50,000 in funding for a splashy marketing campaign, a team retreat of your choice, and even a couple tickets to see a big race out in Monza, Italy. That's a lot of stuff. And you know what? Even if you don't win the prize, you're still going to come out of this with a bunch of new subscribers and a stronger brand, so you can't lose here. All you have to do is head to Tomorrow Brand, that's TMRW brand.getrecharge.com to check out the terms and conditions and sign up by December 31st, 2024. I don't know why any subscription brand would sit this one out. Good luck!
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the future looks calm and stress-free. No, actually, that's a very difficult one. Very difficult future to be that way. But I seriously think the future looks golden for iCalm. We're just getting started with our first stress relief shot, but we already have in the pipeline new products that we want to create based on what customers are telling us they need. And so in 2025, we're going to come with 1 to 2 new products.
Wow.
Yes. And for the rest of the year, for 2024, we're going to still be going heavily, growing our presence online. And in 2025, I think we're going to start our bigger retail expansion. So just so you know, Grace, like our goal with iCalm is to become a staple for natural, effective solutions that are calming people's bodies and problems. So just like we're calming your nervous system, we can also calm a sore throat, calm a headache. I think going forward, we will provide every type of relief using all natural products and herbs and solutions. So I think we just want people to trust us in being able to calm their body in a natural, fast way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so exciting. Can you tease at all what the next products or what they're going to be tackling?
We're between 2 right now that we're just, if people want to know what that is, they should join our private group in Facebook, iCalm Inner Circle. We're actually, asking people what should be the next problem they want us to solve. And we have kind of 2 winners coming out there. So it's open, but I'm going to let people go and then find out for themselves.
I love it. Okay, well, I'll just give my vote here publicly, which is I say sleep. Put me to bed.
We're getting a lot of that, Grace.
Yeah.
We tell people but there's so many products out there. But we do see a big problem with the products. There's just so much on sleep out there, but everybody keeps putting melatonin in their product.
Yeah.
And it's so bad for you. So there is a case for a clean, healthy, yet very effective and potent sleep relief shot. So
something to consider.
yeah, definitely is one of the options.
Okay, good to know. I love to hear it. I'm so glad that it's one of the options. I'm hopeful. Oh God, I just totally lost my train of thought. What was I going to ask? Well, I did want to know, and we're nearing the end, so I won't ask too many more questions, but I did want to know, you co-founded this with your sister, and I've said this before on the podcast, but if I ever tried to work with my brother, one of us would be dead and it would not go well. So I'm curious what it's like working with your sister and how that sort of like balance works for you guys of like, you're both a family and now you're also business partners.
Working with my sister has been really like a blessing because it's so difficult to sometimes trust your partners and the people that you're working with a single goal in mind. And that is easier to do with a sibling for sure. Obviously, we still fight and we sometimes have disagreements, but we definitely really trust in each other that we want the best, not just for iCalm, but for each other. And we were lucky that we did grow up pretty close, even though we're 5 years of age gap. Like my mom raised us like twins. And I don't know if that affected me mentally or what, or she caused us any damage in me or her, because we grew up thinking like we were twins. But we did grow up being each other's best friends. And I know that's not the case with every sibling, but in our situation, I have a lot to give credit to my mom for doing that. She would even dress us the same sometimes. We do look a little bit similar, but people still today ask us if we're twins. And I always like to say, or people ask like, who's the oldest one? And I love that question because I am the older one. But yeah, no, we've been blessed with a good friendship. Yeah. And that's key.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds so wonderful and so fun to get to be in business as well, probably with someone who you are so close with and is your friend.
And also, Grace, actually, we are so different, yet even though we're so similar and we have different strengths and we both play to each other's strengths.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we need to solve this problem. You're good at that. You do it. Well, you're good at this. Like, we just know each other's weakness. We know it when you know each other so well, you can better decide who is the best person to tackle this problem, and we just go for it.
Yeah. I love that. And that's such an important thing. And it's also so nice to have someone, like you said, to bounce ideas off of that you really do trust, like wholeheartedly. Yeah. So one of my final questions that I always love to ask people is just, what advice would you give to yourself if you were starting this all over again? Or if a founder came up to you who was a few years behind where you're at now of just launching iCalm, what advice would you give to somebody?
My advice would be to start dabbling and playing in these communities of people that are doing what you want to do sooner. Before you jump in the pool, you will learn so much. You may even discover that, yes, you're on the right track and this is what you should be doing. Or you'll quickly learn, oh, this is not what I want. This is not the lifestyle I want. And so a community that can do that, and there are many out there, but I wouldn't recommend any other than Startup CPG. So you don't need to have a business. You don't need to have a startup in CPG to even join the Startup CPG community, but I would say join it as soon as you can. In that way, you see what entrepreneurs are struggling with. What's the lifestyle? What personality type do you need to be? And so, or like, what are the things that you need to know before getting started? I think it would just help so much. You would gain so much wisdom that you don't you wouldn't know otherwise.
Totally. I love that. And just so everyone knows, I didn't pay Daniela to say all these nice things about Startup CPG.
Not at
She's
all.
being genuine.
I wish, because I only discovered Startup CPG after I created iCalm, after I was already in the pool, swimming, trying to swim. And if I had known about this community way before, it would have been, like a life changer, a game changer. Who knows? Maybe I still would have decided to do iCalm. Maybe no. Who knows? But so many things would have gone smoother.
Totally. And hindsight's always 20/20, of course.
Yes.
But I think that's great advice. And anybody is welcome, or just, come to a Startup CPG event. Just check it out. See what's up. We're happy. Everybody loves talking. Everybody's very friendly here. So just come on in. So speaking of our community, though, the last question is, how can our listeners, our Startup CPG community, support iCalm and learn more about iCalm?
Oh, great question. Well, for starters, check our website. We are really proud of what we created there. It's www.icalm.com. Also, follow us on social media on iCalm at iCalm Health in Instagram and TikTok. And we try to show everything we do behind the scenes. And if you want to be even more intimate and be part of the focus group, I would recommend that you join the Facebook private group iCalm Inner Circle.
I love it. Well, everybody check it out. Go order some iCalm as well. Get yourself stress-free heading into the holiday season as well. I'm sure people are going to be needing a little bit of stress relief coming up with the holidays. But it was so much fun to talk to you, Daniela, and to learn all about iCalm. And I can't wait to see what you guys do next. And congratulations again on winning at Newtopia Now, the backpack brands. And just excited to see what you guys do next. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Grace. You're lovely. I really enjoyed speaking with you. And I appreciate, everything you guys do for us founders and small startups.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, it would help us out so much if you left a 5-star review on ratethispodcast.com/startupcpg. I am Grace Kennedy, the host of the Founder Feature Series, so feel free to add me on LinkedIn or reach out to me on Slack. I'm always on the hunt for new and exciting brands to feature. And if you're a potential sponsor who would like to appear on the podcast, please email partnerships@startupcpg.com. And finally, as a reminder for anyone listening, if you haven't already, we would love for you to join our community on Slack. You can sign up via our website, startupcpg.com.